Hey there, everyone. We'll get started here momentarily. Just wanted to, of course, every Thursday we come on here and give you the latest and greatest on the weather and give you some interesting facts and details about our weather and our forecast. Today, as we get closer and closer to March, we're going to talk about a couple warm-ups that we have on the way. We're in that transition period from winter to spring, so of course we're going to have a lot of back and forth weather, and it gets a little bit more active in the month of March, so expect anything from snow and ice to severe weather potentially as we get into the third month of the year. Let's jump right into it. We're actually going to start more on the winter side. And we're going to talk about snowfall, at least reviewing our snowfall so far this season. It goes back to 2025, of course, when we had snowfall in the month of November. We've had snow November, December, January, and February. And we've actually had the 51st snowiest season on record. Kind of puts us right in the middle. Right on average. We're actually 2.7 inches below average, but it has been snowier than last season. That was the 42nd driest on record, where we had 39.7 inches of snow, and the snowiest month was February. This season's snowiest month will be January. We're not going to have any significant snow through the end of February to get us above January's totals. And January has also been the coldest month of the season so far. It's definitely been a much colder and much more active season than the past couple seasons, especially when you compare it to 2023-24, when we had our warmest winter on record. Now, the first warm-up, you may have seen in the title, we're tracking warmer weather, but in the description, we've said 2 warm-ups. So the first warm-up is going to happen tomorrow, but it's going to be a brief warm-up. We have some warmer temperatures right here across the northern high plains, into the central plains, the southern plains, and of course the southeast. Now, this warmer air mass is going to be brought into the Great Lakes by a low, and I'll put the low right on our map here quickly. That low is going to be right up here. So it's going to draw that warmer air into the state, and it's going to allow for us to get into the 40s and 50s tomorrow. We're definitely far enough away from that to not really be experiencing it just yet. You can see across the state 20s and 30s, 20s here in our area. We did get just above the freezing mark with the help of some sunshine today, but not much further above 32 degrees compared to how it will be tomorrow. So that colder air mass will get pushed back into Canada. We have the milder temperatures just for one day on Friday. We're back into the chillier weather Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Anytime we have pink on this map, that indicates a below average air mass coming in from Canada. And then once we get into the blues and the greens this time of the year, more so light blues and the greens, that's above average temperatures. So you can see those milder temperatures growing on in middle and end of the week. So that includes Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in our forecast, but it may get even warmer next Friday into next weekend. Now, with the warmer temperatures, it also comes with a bit more activity. We need some storm systems in the area to really drag those temperatures in, and we also need a jet stream that is close, if not just off to our north. That jet stream is pretty much going to be right here. And as that jet stream is in the state, it is going to allow for these storm systems. They originate right out here, and they get dragged along this jet stream, and they get sent out to the east. So in that corridor, we have more activity. We have more rain. We potentially have wintry mixes. So we're going to be tracking those middle and end of next week, and also next weekend, where it could get definitely a bit more active. But a lot of us will be enjoying some milder temperatures to go along with more of that activity. We also have one system. It's a warm front that's kicking into the state to allow for us to get into the warm section of that system tomorrow. It's also allowing for some snowfall here, mainly across northern lower Michigan. There may be a few snow flurries, a couple light snow showers across M55. The rest of us will primarily stay dry for the rest of this evening into tonight. So expect dry, but also a mixture of some clear skies and some cloudier skies for the overnight. We'll see those temperatures bottoming out in the low to mid 20s here right around and after midnight. Then they'll actually rise into the mid to upper 20s for the start of the day tomorrow. Then we kick that warm up into high gear. We have a high temperature tomorrow of 52 degrees. That means some significant ice and snow melt once again. If you have any big piles of snow after the 1 to 3 inches of snow that we had this past weekend, a lot of that will be long gone by the end of the day on Friday, thanks to some sunshine, which always helps us out. Even if it's below freezing, we'll have a below freezing day on Sunday, but that's still going to lead to snow melt because we have a lot of sunshine in the forecast. But some significant snow melt is going to happen tomorrow, thanks to those very mild temperatures. Also going to be a windy day tomorrow. We have that significant wave of low pressure in Canada. It's going to draw in the warm air, but it also will kick up those winds pretty significantly. Some gusts 30 to 40 miles per hour. If you have trash day on Fridays, your trash can will definitely be knocked over after it is picked up by those that are coming through the neighborhood, but it may even be in your neighbor's yard if you get one of those more significant gusts to push it around and push it away from your own driveway, as long as your neighbor doesn't live, a half a mile or a quarter of a mile away from you. As we look at our futurecast, you can see a few of those light snow showers potentially here across the northern lower Michigan. Outside of that, potential for the rest of this evening, we'll just see a mixture of clear skies, cloudy skies, partly cloudy to partly sunny into the beginning of the day tomorrow. We'll have partly cloudy conditions throughout our Friday. Any precipitation looks to stay off to our east and to our north, and then a cold front gets dragged through Friday night. So we are back into the colder temperatures on Saturday. We'll also allow for a decent amount of cloud cover, but as you can see right here, we have some snowfall, especially across southern mid-Michigan and definitely down into Metro Detroit later on Saturday evening into our Saturday night. By Sunday morning, though, we're done with the snow, and we have a decent amount of sunshine on the way for the end of the weekend. I would say that the best potential of any accumulation of a couple tenths of an inch would be right across here into I-69, maybe a dusting all the way up to the Saginaw Bay region, and then as you go north of the Saginaw Bay, we should see little to no snow able to stick. Now we'll track that system, and of course if there's any northerly jog with that precipitation, we will of course let you know. Then I wanted to show you what March looks like on average, what's typical for March. So this is March by the numbers, as March begins on Sunday. So we won't be talking to you until we are in officially the month of March, and that also is the first day of meteorological spring. Now the first day of spring officially on the calendars is March 20th. So March 1st is meteorological spring. Astronomical spring is March 20th. Now, during the month of March, we see our average high temperature go from 37 to 50. We see our average low temperature go from 20 to 30. And on average, we see about 2 inches of precipitation, whether that's rain or snow. The hottest March day that we've ever had was back in 2012. You guys remember that summer-like stretch in the middle of March where we had 86 degrees, but also the coldest was back in 2014. You guys also remember that. That was one of the coldest winters ever on record. We were down to -16 on one of those very cold mornings in 2014. The wettest March ever was 4.33 inches of precipitation. That's melted snow, ice, or even just plain old rain. That was back in 2016. So a lot of these records happening in the 2010s. Pretty funny trend that we have seen right there between 2012 and 2016. We also gain 88 minutes of daylight, and we also spring forward. So spring forward is not this Sunday, but it's next Sunday. So March 8th is when we spring forward officially, March 7th into March 8th. We spring forward and we see that sunset and sunrise times going back an hour. So by the end of the month, we will have that sunset officially at 8 p.m., our sunrise at 7:18. To start the month, our official sunrise is 7:10 a.m. and our official sunset is 6:24 p.m. Most days during the month of March, we gain about 2 to 3 minutes of daylight each and every day. So we gain a pretty significant amount of daylight, and of course we eventually spring forward here. Not this Sunday, but next Sunday. Next Sunday we will see that sunset time, I believe, closer to about 7:30 as opposed to 6:30. So days get a little bit later. You know that sunrise happens a little bit later, sunset happens a little bit later, and of course we keep that going until early November. So it's that unofficial start. I always call it the unofficial start to spring because it just starts to get brighter. It starts to get nicer outside. We melt the snow away. Doesn't mean we won't have more snow in the month of March. I would definitely say by the end of this season, yes, we're below average with our snowfall so far, but I would say that you know, by the end of March into April, once the snow officially ends, we'll probably have an above average season for the snowfall because we're only 2.7 inches away. We'll have, you know, potentially another inch of snowfall that comes through Saturday night to add to that total. And then we'll be talking about more snow that happens inevitably in the month of March and also potentially even in April. You know, we've only had, and I was looking at these numbers in the month of March, we've only had one season that we had no snow, and that was 1944 to 1945, and we've only had 6 seasons that were snow-free in the month of April. And that goes back to the 20s, 30s, 40s, and also 90s in the 1900s. So it's going to happen. You know, we're going to have snow in the month of March. We're going to have potentially some snow in the month of April. So be prepared for that possibility as we go into the next couple of months. Definitely less snowfall that you see in those months than when you compare it to December, January, and February, but don't be surprised if we have more snow that eventually sticks after our false spring that happened about a week ago. And also, of course, with these 2 warm-ups, one happening tomorrow, we get cold Saturday through Monday, and another warm-up expected Tuesday through next weekend. I think that's going to wrap it up for me on this Beyond the Forecast. Of course, we come to you every Thursday. I think next Thursday will probably be more so tracking those storm systems and this more significant warm-up that happens late next week into the weekend. So hopefully you join me next week. As always, I appreciate you guys watching, tuning in. If you ever have any comments, questions, concerns, you can always leave them in the comments and I'll be able to answer them live here or after the video. You can even leave a couple of those comments and questions and I'll be happy to review those and answer those when I see them.